Election night in Florida after months of campaigning.
America is ready for a fresh start, ready for a new way forward.
Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?
A razor-thin race for president. Results continue to come in at this hour. Also on the ballot, 2 high-profile amendments involving abortion.
Yes, it's a woman's right to choose whatever she wants to do with her body.
We want to protect children. We want to protect women from the negative effects of abortion.
And recreational marijuana.
Americans want the freedom to be able to make that choice.
Do we think having more people use will be better for the state of Florida?
And the candidates hoping to represent you from Washington, D.C. to Tallahassee and our communities. WPBF 25 has live, unbiased team coverage, county by county, and analysis as the votes come in that will impact your future. This is WPBF 25 News at 11 on election night. Here are Felicia Rodriguez, Todd McDermott, and Tiffany Kenny.
Now at 11, a historic and razor-thin race for the White House. The polls here in Florida did close hours ago. Republican presidential nominee, the former President Donald Trump, has won the Sunshine State again.
He beat Democratic presidential nominee Vice President Kamala Harris by more than 10% of the votes.
As for other parts of the country, the polls just closing in California, Washington State, and parts of Oregon and Idaho. In order to win the White House, Trump or Harris must secure at least 270 electoral votes. None of the 7 swing states has been called as of right now.
We have live team coverage for you tonight on the presidential race, as well as local and state contests.
Let's begin with our live crew right here in Palm Beach County.
Right now, both presidential campaigns are closely watching tonight's results. It may be into the morning hours. Terry Parker live from the Palm Beach County Convention Center, West Palm Beach, for the Trump-Vance Watch Party. Terry.
Anticipation is building here inside the Palm Beach County Convention Center. You can hear the cheers all around me right now. Every time they put up a new state where Trump has gained a few points or perhaps won, the crowd just erupts. It is standing room only here. The people have been steadily coming in. We're still waiting for Donald Trump, the candidate himself, to appear, and there was quite a bit of excitement just a few moments ago because they started playing YMCA. That's often the times a song that he dances to, and we saw some party goers arriving from Mar-a-Lago, but we're told that his motorcade has not yet left. Of course, it's very early in the night, and although Donald Trump appears to be ahead at this point based on the states that he has won the electoral votes, it is very early in the night, so we don't know exactly how this will shake out. I've spoken to some of the high donors here, supporters from all over the country. They are here, they're excited, but no one is calling it victory yet, but they're hoping that it goes their way. Reporting live from the Palm Beach County Convention Center, I'm Terry Parker, WPBF.
All right, Terry, thank you. Vice President Kamala Harris is also hosting a watch party tonight at her alma mater, Howard University in Washington, D.C. Our correspondent, Kaylin Norwood, is there tonight.
The polls closed in 5 more states, including battleground Nevada, and the crowd here very quiet as they are watching these results slowly come in state by state. A big mood change from earlier this evening where we saw performances, a choir performed, but right now all eyes are on these results, and people are really watching these key battleground states. Now right now none of the battleground states have been called. We are continuing to monitor key states such as Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Back to you.
All right, our thanks to Kaylin. Now let's be joined by our exclusive political analyst. That's former Florida House Majority Leader Adam Hasner, former U.S. Congressman Ron Klein, to talk about this presidential race and the race on Capitol Hill tonight. But let's start with the blue wall states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, too close to call. We don't know, but we do know that if the vice president wants to take the White House, she's going to need Pennsylvania tonight.
She needs all 3. And there's no margin of error at this point. But it's going to take time. Major cities are still out. Yeah. Pennsylvania took a long time last time because Philadelphia was slow to get in. So I think it's going to be overnight before we have a better idea of whether she's successful.
But Adam, is this about large margins too? And does this give the former president several pathways to get to 270?
Well, it gives him the pathway to get to 270 because, as Ron said, he only needs to win one of the 3 blue wall states. And so we're going to be paying very close attention to whether Harris is hitting her numbers in the urban areas in places like Milwaukee or Detroit or Philadelphia. Right. But we're also going to be seeing, can Trump overperform in the rural areas? And we're seeing some of that in Wisconsin and in Pennsylvania, where he's doing better in 2024 in those rural areas against Harris than he did against Biden. So that vote margin is going to go up and down throughout the night. And I think Ron's right. We're probably not going to know till sometime early tomorrow morning.
Of course not. Let's go to Congress first, the House of Representatives. That would appear to be trending for a reversal here and perhaps a Democratic majority in the House?
Yeah, right now there's 4 seats difference between the Republicans out of 435. So it's a very slim margin. The Democrats have to pick up 4+, to do that. I think it's likely that probably will happen. There's a number of seats that were Republican seats that they won sort of in Democratic areas recently, 2 years ago. I think they're going to come back.
But if you thought that margin was thin, how about the Senate? And now it looks as if the GOP is going to take the Senate.
Yeah, it was 49-51, 51-49 Democrats, and now it looks like the Republicans are going to pick up at least 3 seats in the Senate between Montana, West Virginia, and Ohio. Maybe there's one more out there. Maybe there's one in Wisconsin or Michigan or possibly Pennsylvania, maybe Nevada, maybe Arizona. You don't know. But right now it's looking pretty solid for at least 52.
All right, I'll call you both at 5 a.m. Those are exclusive political analysts, Ron Klain, Adam Hasner. Thank you, gentlemen. Felicia?
All right, guys. Incumbent Congresswoman Lois Frankel will serve another 2 years. She beat Republican Dan Frances in the race for U.S. House District 22, representing part of Wellington, Green Acres, West Palm Beach, Boynton Beach, and Delray Beach. Ari Hyde is live for us in West Palm Beach with Frankel's campaign. Ari?
Yeah, and I spoke to Congresswoman Frankel as she got here a couple of hours ago, shortly after the race was called. She walked in, she saw me, big smile on her face, and she said, hey, that's lucky 7. Like you mentioned, she's serving another term. This will be her 7th consecutive term representing the state of Florida in Congress. Like you mentioned, she just beat Republican Dan Franzese. It's the second time she's beaten him. She beat him again 2 years ago by about the same margin, about 10 points or so. The crowd at this Palm Beach County Democrat watch party, they cheered as Frankel arrived here with her 99-year-old mother, Dorothy. Frankel tells me winning these elections, it never gets old, she says, and she's honored to be able to represent Palm Beach County. I asked her why she thinks people keep voting for her.
I think people want someone to represent them who they trust, who has common sense, and will put up a fight when a fight needs to be had.
And Frankel tells me she's got a lot of different things she wants to accomplish in this next term. Chief among them is protection of women's reproductive rights. She also wants to protect Medicare, and she wants to protect Social Security. Reporting live in West Palm Beach, Ari Hyde, WPBF 25 News.
Ari, thank you. Incumbent Congressman Brian Mast has also won re-election, defeating Democrat Thomas Whitcup in the race for U.S. House District 21. That seat contains all of St. Lucie and Martin counties and northeastern parts of Palm Beach County. Our Shane Wright joining us live in Stewart with Mast's campaign. Shane?
Yeah, Felicia and Tiffany voted 21st Congressional District for a 5th straight time by electing Brian Mast. About 30 minutes after the polls closed is when Mast.
Absolute honor. Thank you for allowing me to do it. I will continue to do it the way that I did it in the military. Always remembering that the best leaders, they never ask their men and women to do something that they wouldn't do themselves or hadn't already done themselves. That's a trait of good military leadership. I always realize as a bomb technician, the decisions that I make, right, they affect the people around us.
That's Congressman Brian Mast wins another term. The Associated Press has also called the winners in 3 other congressional seats here in the state. Republican Mike Herodopoulos beats Democrat Sandy Kinney in the race for House District 8. That represents parts of Indian River, Brevard County, and part of Central Florida. Incumbent Republican Scott Franklin reelected to U.S. House District 18, covering parts of Okeechobee County, Glades, and several other areas. He defeats Democrat Andrea Kahle, and incumbent Democrat Jared Moskowitz defeats Republican Joe Kaufman to continue representing part of southern Palm Beach County, as well as Broward in U.S. House District 23.
Of the 34 U.S. Senate contests, 1 seat was up for a vote here in Florida, and tonight, incumbent Republican Rick Scott defeated Debbie Mucarsel Powell.
Again, it was a very easy night for the senator and two-time governor, now two-time elected to the U.S. Senate.
We want to go now to our Angela Rozier. She is with the Mucarsel camp. Ange?
Debbie Mucarsel Powell told her volunteers who were here at her election watch party that this was not the result that she was expecting. The Democratic challenger for the U.S. Senate seat thanked her family, she thanked her volunteers, she thanked the team, and she says it was her mother. That was the reason why she ran for this race in the first place. She says that she was fortunate. She also says that this was an incredible opportunity. She says she wanted to fight for change. She wanted to fight for Social Security. But she also says she's not finished.
We did not win this battle, but the fight is just getting started, because let me tell you something. If you think that this Latina right here is giving up on Florida, then I don't think you've been paying attention.
Saul Powell posted this message on X about an hour after the polls closed. It reads, "Thank you for the ride of a lifetime, Florida. Now let's take back our state." And I asked her what was next. She says right now she probably will go to Disney World, have a vacation, but she also says she will be back. Reporting live in Miami, Angela Rozier, WPBF 25 News.
Angela, thank you. As I said, it was a very big win tonight for the incumbent Senator Rick Scott. Our colleague Elias is with the Scott campaign in Bonita Springs at that election watch party.
Yeah, just about all of the supporters now have gone home. Just about 2.5 hours after U.S. Senator Rick Scott came out and told a packed crowd here tonight that, quote, a lot of people busted their butts, end quote, in order for him to win.
This is a team win. We won, they lost.
Senator Rick Scott winning his second-term Senate seat by the largest margin in his political history.
Next week, we have another election. Senate Republican leader.
His supporters confident he'll pull that off if Republicans retain control of the Senate.
He seems to be focusing on next week, but he is a hardworking guy who has always delivered for Florida.
And reaching out to Spanish-speaking voters.
Los votantes hispanos son republicanos, hoy.
Finishing with this cheer.
Let's get to work!
And that work he's talking about, going back to Washington, D.C. and trying to convince his colleagues that he should replace Senator Mitch McConnell. I've been talking with his folks here in Bonita Springs, and they tell me that is what he is focused on already now. We're live in Bonita Springs tonight. Dave Elias, WPBF 25 News.
Dave, thank you. And we are bringing you election night coverage all evening long.
As the results come in, you will see them moving across the bottom of your screen throughout the evening. And when you're away from your TV, make sure you've downloaded our free WPBF 25 News app to get push alerts with election results sent straight to your phone.